Hello and welcome to the Matt Ligor Show. I'm your host, Matt Ligor, and this is my show. The hardest part I found about doing a TV show, I used to do a radio show, is the transition from the introduction of this is the Matt Ligor Show and who I am into the introduction of my show. I really wish that I had a sidekick like Andy Richter who could come in and introduce me, and then I could kind of come into the show. But maybe in the future, and if there's anybody out there who wants to be my sidekick, I'll set up some auditions and you can come in and you can try out for the Matt Ligor Show. So the way to reach me on the Matt Ligor Show is at email. You can go matt@mattligor.com. You could be my friend on Facebook at The Matt Ligor Show on Facebook. And now recently, I just started my own YouTube channel, The Matt Ligor Show, on YouTube. I don't know if that's exactly how you put it in there, but put it in the search title. I'm sure, I hope, I'll show up. But it's a work in progress on the YouTube. But anyway, the Matt Ligor Show is about being an entrepreneur. But actually, I think it's more than just being an entrepreneur. It started out as being an entrepreneur, but it's more about being inspired in life. I think that in life, we all want to be inspired. We lose inspiration, we get bored, we get depressed, and usually that comes from not fulfilling the dreams in your life. And it's a really tough chore to write down all your dreams and follow them specifically, you know. Myself, I make it too complicated. But I was watching the show CBS Sunday Morning, which is one of my favorite shows. I highly recommend you watch it because it's really a great show. It's simple, but it's great. And on the show last Sunday they had the Rolling Stones on there. And the Rolling Stones have been performing since I was born, which is 1960s. All right, I was born in 1966. They've been performing since then, and they were interviewing Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. And they were saying how much they love it. They love what they do. They find it exciting, interesting, new. And I was sitting there and I was like thinking to myself, how can it be exciting and new, you know, just to play the same songs over again? Now, I know it's more than that. But my point is this. They found their passion. They stuck with it. They're the biggest thing in the music world, and they have been for 40 years, which is pretty remarkable, and they definitely lived their dream, and they're doing what they want to do. Let's be honest, you know, I know it's an old joke, but Keith Richards should have been dead 30 years ago, but the guy is doing what he loves. It keeps him alive, and these guys now are 70, in their 70s, and they're performing and doing the things they love. So that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about, not the Rolling Stones, but about being inspired. So on my show, I have other entrepreneurs, I have guests on who I feel are up to good things, up to big things, doing things with their life that are helping them and their families and others around them. And today I have my guest with me today, Sarah Tugender. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and welcome. And I want you to know that you're more than welcome to be my sidekick, all right, if you'd like.
Thank you. I know you have a long list, so to be even considered.
If you want to. And
okay.
Maybe you'd want me to be your sidekick,
yeah.
but I do that too.
Okay.
So Sarah is an entrepreneur. She's a mom. She's a wife also, but she has a daughter, Ella, who's 3 years old, and soon to have a second child.
Soon to have another.
On the way. All right. And congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And Sarah, now I said how you're an entrepreneur, but why don't you tell us like what your field is and what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So right now I am a national recruiter and trainer in healthcare. And I probably in 2017, I'm going to hop on an airplane about a dozen times and go across the whole country. Even though I do try to leverage my time and do as much as I can through social media, through email, through phone conferences, Zoom meetings, whatever it can be. But I've really specialized and niched myself with healthcare consultants. So all I can predict in 2017 is that healthcare, again, is going to have some major shifts and major changes, as I think we're all expecting.
Yeah.
And so people need to come in and help in a lot of different ways. And there's still a big market out there that can easily be swayed to different, whether it's products or services. And the consulting space is huge right now. I mean, they're predicting that in the next 5 years that I think half of the U.S. population is going to be 1099 employees as well.
Yeah.
But people don't always have that structure. And I think that's why you have a show like this, right?
It is.
Say entrepreneurs just need to go out and find their own way. And so I provide that structure, that training, that system for people to be able to go out and as part of this, freedom economy or gig economy, whatever you want to call it, can find their way within healthcare if that's their passion.
All right. So you found your niche in healthcare. You're an entrepreneur and you're a trainer. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur, it's easy to get distracted by the next shiny thing, right? The shiny thing comes along and that looks really good, but it's not just in finding a new thing. Sometimes it's, you get distracted by a new way, right?
Oh, gosh,
a new way to do this and everything. I find myself, those things kind of overwhelm me a little bit, and I get kind of shut down by it. So I'm not the only one. So now there's a person like you, I can talk to you. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Of course.
And you would now, if I came to you, let's just say, for instance, let's just kind of role play a little bit. Like up here on the screen, you can see Tugender.com, where you offer your services as a trainer, right?
Yep, you can find out where to find me, where my trainings are. You can connect with me. I have a download, which is just how to be a little bit more efficient in sales, because a lot of people that I work with have already had some sort of sales background. But I have a way that just makes it a little bit easier. So I have the 7 words to score the appointment every time. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go to sarahTugender.com, and that helps just about anyone. It would even help you in your business landing a sidekick.
Can I ask you a question now?
Sure.
Now, these 7 words.
Yeah.
Do we have to?
You got it down.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So we go to your site. I saw the little, the box for it there, and we put our
just put your email in.
And you're going to send us the 7 words.
Yeah, that's
all right.
it.
I'm going to do that after the show.
Yeah, you should. It's a really good system. It's changed so many people's businesses that have been working. It's sometimes just those little tweaks, and you just need that little direction. Because, as I said, if you're not being coached and mentored in your sales role, so I had 10 years of corporate sales experience, all the way up to working in New York City in the restaurant advertising space as a as a regional sales manager. I think in one of the hardest markets, right? New York City.
Yeah, in restaurants.
Restaurants. I mean, there were days I laugh, I'll tell stories about times when I was cold calling in the Bronx, and that's what we did. And it was fun. It was a really good time.
So you just pick a restaurant. How would you I want to just go back to this a little bit.
Sure,
how would you pick a restaurant?
A lot of times you use some pre-qualifiers. So it's always easier to sell someone something if they're already using a similar existing service. So I sold in the daily deal space. So I would always start with restaurants that I knew already did daily deals, because you weren't convincing them on a new concept. So I do the same thing when I'm talking about healthcare. So if my focus is going to be, which right now, 2 things for the next year that are big for me are genetics and weight loss. So I would go and work with an account that maybe has already done a little bit in genetics, because then I'm not selling them on a new concept.
Yeah.
So same. That's just it's the same skill. It doesn't really matter what industry you work in. It's always easier to do that.
Yeah, I had a friend who worked in sales, and he said, sales is sales. It doesn't matter if you're selling computers or ketchup. It's the same thing. So now, so with the restaurant business, and I would imagine in healthcare, if you're going to go have a meeting, is there a lot of apprehension where people are like, another salesperson? I would think in the restaurant business, they're just like, look, we're just trying to get ready for today. Can you come back tomorrow or never,
Yeah, right. I mean, those are 2 of the biggest industries that have the most salespeople calling.
How do you deal with that?
You just have to make friends and have a good time. With my new role is I don't have territories. There's no restrictions. It's just open. You really work for yourself. It was a little bit harder. I have some experience in pharmaceutical sales. I have experience, like I said, in areas where I've had territories or lead lists, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's harder because especially when I was a pharmaceutical rep, I was given a list of 200 doctors, And if the first 50 didn't give me access, didn't like me, I didn't like them, it was hard to get in there, there was nothing I could do. I still went back every single week. Like, I'm here again. I know we're not going to make any progress, but this is a little bit different. I can now, a lot of my accounts, I meet them on the playground. I meet them in a Facebook group. I meet them, wherever they are. And that's what I really teach people how to do. I believe that a healthcare provider, just like you and I, put their pants on the same way. And I just know this because I grew up with one. My dad's an OBGYN, and I know he's been on your show before, Dr. Dan Mikowski, and he has the same struggles that everyone else does, like remembering that Thursday is trash day, things like that. I mean, it's not like you're any more glamorous. And so just, knowing that, okay, maybe that they were a little trite to you that day, but you have no idea. Like, it could have just been that, like, on their way to work, their wife called and said, can you turn back around? Because, David forgot his lunch at school again. At lunch for school. So you've got to, like, come back and do that. And, like, they're not mad at you. They're just mad at the day. So come back another day.
Yeah, being a business owner, a lot of times I'll just, the stress of business, of the day, when the phone rings and I'm in the middle of working or I'm trying to get something done and the phone rings, I sometimes I get a little irritated.
Why do we hate phone calls now? Isn't that the funniest? Like, we have these phones that could, like, probably take us to the moon. They do more than I even know what to do with it. And we hate it. We get mad. We're like, why is my mom calling me? Like, right? We're so mad about it.
I think I get mad because it's just like everyone has such access to you. It's like, don't I have any time to myself?
Like, don't they know how to text? Right?
Yeah. And so my phone will ring and it'll be a customer. All right. Now I got to answer the phone call. All right. So I'll pick up the phone. I'll be like, hello, this is Matt. And the person on the other end, my first reaction is, this person, they're so stupid, they're so stupid, and then but I can't, you can't treat someone that way. You have to get past it. But that's my first initial reaction. I know. And then I'll talk to them, I'll set up the appointment, and then they'll come in and I'll meet them and I'll be like, it'll be someone like you. I'll be like, they're so nice.
I know.
They're so pleasant. And I made this assumption because I was irritated when the phone rang. And when you're calling, I realize when I make calls to something I don't know, you don't know what to say, what to ask. So you do sound kind of dumb. You do sound kind of confused because you are.
Like the weather or something. Like, people don't want those niceties anymore. They're like, get to the point.
Get to the point. What do you want?
My voicemail says, like, I will not check this voicemail. Please text me. I love now the iPhone transcribes your voicemails. You don't even have to listen to them. I'm like,
it does?
Awesome. This is.
Wait. What are you talking about? I don't know that can be.
My iPhone, it like transcribes it. Yours doesn't do that?
No. What, you have an iPhone 6?
I have a 6S, which is lame.
Yeah.
I should have a 7. I'm not really sure why I still have a 6S. But, yeah, I don't know.
It transcribes your voicemail, your voice message.
I can, like, preview. I can preview it.
Mine doesn't do that.
I'll show you
All right, yeah, show me afterwards. I probably didn't download something. So now let's go back to talking about you and what you do. I've known you now for about 5 years, I think.
I'd say so,
all right?
yeah.
And I've seen you transform and grow your businesses and grow yourself. That's hard. That's not an easy job. All right. It's because as an entrepreneur, you trust kind of yourself more. All right. And a lot of times you say, if I don't do it, nobody will.
Right.
All right, have you had that struggle?
Oh, gosh. And then especially being a mom, then there's these things that you just think you have to do that are mom things. And I'm sure there's dad things.
There are.
It is funny how my husband Dan and I, we have these very, like, split roles. Like, there's sometimes, oh my gosh, just the other day, a light bulb went off and I felt like, Dan, the light bulb went off. Like, I told him so many times. And then finally I was like, I think I can figure out how to change this light bulb.
You're talking about a real light bulb.
Yeah, like, it was just a light bulb.
So this wasn't like in your head a light bulb went off.
Literally in the kitchen, I needed a light bulb change.
Yeah.
Like, then I was like, but you get these roles. And so, and we get these stereotypical gender roles or what we should be doing at this time. Like, why would anyone else be able to, make my daughter dinner or pick up the groceries or, do the laundry, whatever it is. And that's what, I'm a mom. I should fold socks, right?
Yep.
But no, I'm a business owner, and that's not going to make a difference. Like my daughter Ella is not going to say 20 years from now, my mom's the best, because she folded my socks perfect.
Right.
And so just keeping the main thing, and knowing, yes, sometimes you might feel like it's easier to do it yourself, but that doesn't mean you should be doing it yourself. And you just look at, any entrepreneur, and I love the meme that goes around, like Beyonce also has 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
pick whoever your favorite superstar is, celebrity, entrepreneur, and say, like, if I was this person, is this what they would be doing?
Yeah.
And we always sort of like put those people down, I think, in society too. And you get this, in your head, like people will say, probably you didn't hear this as a little boy growing up, but I would hear like, well, what do you think you are, a princess? Like, yeah, well, maybe, but maybe it's not being the princess, but it's being, a successful entrepreneur, and I'm sure the panel of people on Shark Tank, there's just certain things that they don't do, and same as the princess,
Let me tell you one thing that a dad roles involve ladders, okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I hate ladders. Climbing up ladders, all right? Especially when you're climbing up the side of your house. It's dangerous, okay? And I'm not saying like, oh, I don't want to do dangerous things. I want someone else to do the dangerous thing.
No.
I'm saying like, if you don't climb a ladder regularly, all right, it's dangerous. So that might be a great thing to have somebody else do.
Yeah, we don't own a ladder. Yeah, there's certain things that I just say, like, if we just don't own it, then we don't have, like, we'll never own a lawnmower. Like, things like that. Why would I need a lawnmower? Why would my husband need a lawnmower?
Yeah, I gave my lawnmower away.
Yeah.
I gave it away a couple of years ago. First, I bought my house, the house I have in North Reading, big yard. I mowed it one time, and I said, forget it. This is just like, I'm not going to take, I'm not going to take half my day to mow a lawn unless you love it. Unless you love it and enjoy it.
Unless you love it,
yeah.
right.
And I don't love it and enjoy it.
And even like, so we were talking about earlier, I love grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I've written a few different ebook cookbooks, and I love grocery shopping. I love grocery shopping. I love cooking. I love meal prep. I love meal planning, the whole thing. And just because I love it doesn't mean I need to do it every single week. So now it becomes like a true joy for me when I do get to just go through Whole Foods and say, okay, well, I have some extra time. I don't have Ella with me. Let me just go and explore, as opposed to, if this doesn't happen now today, like, we are not eating tonight. So there's just that like monumental shift.
So you were saying earlier about how you've been able to delegate. And one of the things you mentioned in this was the food shopping.
Yeah.
All right. You've been able to delegate some of your responsibilities.
Let me start with what it did start with for me. It started with my cleaning lady.
Okay.
And I've always had a cleaning lady. So since we've been married, I've been married for 5 years. Just this fall, we celebrated 5 years. We've had a cleaning lady the entire time we've been married.
Yep.
The monumental shift for me was going from a cleaning lady once a month to once a week.
Yeah.
And because once a month you're still cleaning before the cleaning lady.
Yeah, you got to vacuum and stuff like that.
It gets too dirty.
Right.
And things don't get picked up. And then she doesn't have time to do things like organize, or those projects like clean out your fridge, especially if you just want them in and out. Like, you don't want working from home. My husband and I both work from home, and we have a young family, so we're at home. I don't need someone at my house for hours and hours.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I did was I just gave myself permission to find someone on a temporary basis. I said, I have a big project coming up. The last thing I'm going to do is chase the house.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to know that if I make my big cooking day on a Wednesday and I ever come on Thursday, she'll do all the dishes.
Yeah.
She'll clean the stove. She'll do this for me. So I kind of just rearranged that timing, and I said, let me try it for 1 month. That's what I hired her for. I said, you'll come 4 times for 1 month.
Yep.
And I said, that's it. I'm never going back to the once a month. It was so much more cost effective for me for the amount of time. Then I gave her projects like, this is my spice cabinet. Could you organize it? And so it turned into all these other things that she does for me. And so then I said, well, okay, I did that. That was like the eat this frog, the big elephant in the room, where my husband was saying, Sarah, you're spending way too much time just on the house.
Yeah.
Well, what else am I spending too much time doing? So grocery shopping came next. And there's a new service, and I don't know if you have it here yet, but Instacart in So that made it easier because I had looked like, should I hire an assistant? Should I get a TaskRabbit? Should I, find someone down the street that can go grocery shopping? And at the same time, Whole Foods rolled out a partnership with Instacart.
Yeah.
And it came to Peabody where I live. So I paid like $150 for the year for free shipping.
Wow. Well, I mean, think about $150 in time, wear and tear in your car, what you could be doing with that time
It's
instead.
nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing.
So like you're not doing these things so like you can be the princess, all right?
No.
That sits around and gets served
Right?
and everything.
No.
You're doing these things so that you can be more efficient with your time.
And spend that quality time with my daughter. Because
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is yelling at someone at the grocery store or just feeling stressed. Like the stress success is not what I wanted to feel. I wanted it to be so it's that quality.
Did you yell at your
time
daughter or at
together.
other people at the store?
Yeah, it was a combination of the whole thing. Yeah.
You know, the thing with kids is, yeah, they definitely want quality time, but they want quantity time too.
Yeah.
All right, they want you to sit with them and watch TV. They don't care. They, the kids, they spell love Time.
Right.
All right, so like my daughters now, one's fully grown and married, but the other two, one's 12, the other one's 9, and they just say, hey, can you watch TV with me? And it's like they want the quantity too. So if you're preoccupied with life and and you're trying to just settle just for quality time, yeah, your kids are going to be a little disappointed. So you got to have both,
Right.
So what else do you do to free up yourself?
So then from there it went, what am I doing in my business? And in this world, do we just do one thing, right? And then we have these hobbies like like this, and I have just as elaborate hobbies, I would say, that are just as complicated. And so we have these lives and we say, now what in my business can I outsource? And I mean, I'm still not perfect. There's still things that you get addicted to this, that once you do things and you go, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
So like bookkeeping services, I think is the next to go. But before that, it really just all started with some simple tasks of repetitious things I was doing on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I said, what could I do? And I decided, because I had hired people before on like Elance, which is now Odesk. I've hired people on Fiverr. I've had these like one-time interactions, these short-term things. Maybe one person I used for like a bigger project and it took a little bit longer, but I decided that I really wanted to build more of a team, because I think as an entrepreneur, what you are missing is a team. Like you even said about the Matt Ligor show, it's just you. You're looking for that sidekick, because it's much more fun if you are that extrovert and you feed off of someone else. I'm the same way. And so I said, I really want to hire my first team member. And so I did a little bit of research and went to the experts that I follow. I follow Shalene Johnson. She pointed me to this man, Chris Ducker. Chris Ducker, he owns this company called onlinejobs.ph.
Yeah.
And so for $50, I created an account. I could post a job listing, and then I had the ability to go through an interview process. So I ended up Skyping 3 people from the Philippines. And when I met Melissa, who's my part-time, she works 20 hours a week for me, it was like, this is the perfect, she's a mom of 3, she homeschools her kids, it's amazing. I will screen flow something, a process that I do. Once I realize I'm doing something again and again, I'll screen flow it and send it over to her, and now she takes over that process for me.
Wow. So the Philippines is basically on the other side of the world.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
She yelled at me the other day. She was like, it's 10 p.m. where you are. Can you go to bed, Mama? And she knows I'm pregnant. So.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. What time is it? What's the time difference?
I think we're 13 hours.
13 hours,
yeah,
really?
I think it's 13 hours.
Wow.
I don't always know. I just tell her what time zone I need things done in and have her convert, but.
I can't hardly wrap my head around that. I know that, but this is people do this. Lots of people do this. So you're not like the first one or the cutting edge. This is something that a lot of people do.
Right. Yeah.
And it's affordable too, right?
Yes, so affordable. They can live off of like full-time income for them is about $500 to $600 a month. And I think she has a master's degree.
Really?
So the fact that I overpay her part-time, she's so happy,
Yeah.
she's so pleased, she's so trustworthy, and that's another thing you say, like, well, can I trust this person? Yeah, you have to. Sometimes it's going to take more work. So then I had to take a step back and I had to say, am I protected on the internet? Because I'm about to give her some of my serious passwords.
Yeah.
So I had to go back a step and learn about protecting myself on the internet on a password standpoint. So I pay for a service called 1Password, where I create these passwords for my accounts and I give her access to them. So then I can keep track of which password she has access to.
Yeah.
So if I ever want to revoke the access, I can just look, I can easily change everything, and I can turn her on and off. I have 2-step authentication with a lot of things. So some things when she logs in for the first time or refreshes or cookies or whatever, she has to message me because I have a code on my iPhone that they text me.
Yeah.
And that just makes sense. And I say, Melissa, was this you? Were you trying to do this? She goes, yeah. And so I totally trust her because that's that instant communication that we have with one another.
Yeah. What amazing times we live in, really, to think that just, 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't this easy to do stuff like this. Forget go back 25, 30 years. You're working with somebody. You're basically her sole provider, right? Maybe does she work with anybody else?
I liked this. She's also an entrepreneur herself.
Yeah.
So she owns her own clothing line that she sells on Facebook. And so I thought it was the perfect match for what I was doing. And sometimes I've paid her, part of her job has been just to courses that I don't have time to digest myself. I have her watch and take notes on it and then implement it for me. So I'll buy a course and say, here you go. Like, can you learn this for me? And so like Instagram marketing and things like that, she totally runs my Instagram. She posts every day on there for me, but she runs an Instagram business. So I do feel like I'm still helping her with her own local business at the same time.
So now you have your site, SarahTugender.com. Do you talk about that at all in there, like what you do with this, or is
I
this?
haven't, but I should start. Yeah, that's like part of my process. That I don't know. I don't know if that would be scary for people right away to say, because again, it's like taking 2 steps back sometimes before you can move forward, but then you just quantum leap forward.
Just say the name of that company again that you're using.
Onlinejobs.ph.
Onlinejobs.ph. We'll put that on the lower third so people can see that too. That's really, I just find that fascinating. It's really what you need.
It's so what you need.
Because you can, if you tried to hire a assistant here, you'd probably pay what?
$20 an hour.
$20 an hour.
Yeah.
And so if you work part-time, there's $400 a week.
Right.
That's $1,600 a month or more because there's more than 4 weeks,
Right.
So it can get pretty expensive.
You start to get a little angry. Like I pay Melissa whether I give her 20 hours of work or not.
Yeah.
So, and there's been times like she got sick, so she says, I didn't work this week. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give her a nice Christmas bonus and the whole thing. But you just can't. So we work it out. She's so fair and honest and wants to be like that, and I need to respect that because I'm an entrepreneur too.
Yeah.
And I work on 1099 the same way. And there's sometimes we just have to be like, you know what, this week it didn't work out. Or, there's been projects she's like, I have failed this project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you just not like it? Because if you don't like to do that, I don't want to make you do things you don't like to do. So let's find someone else that can do that project and you can oversee it. So my next step with her is going to be to make her a manager, and all the things that she doesn't like to do or isn't as skilled at, find someone else to do it.
Wow.
And then she'll manage the project since she's overseen it for so long.
And what would you say that's done to your life since you?
Oh my gosh, so much time. I have so much time. And that time that you need, like to be able to take a whole afternoon, I usually spend, a good 3-4 hours a week just planning, just goal setting, just daydreaming, just putting it all down, just organizing my mind. I'm able to, work out on a regular basis. I'm able to cook healthy food because all that time I'm not spending in the grocery store, you can just allocate towards making green smoothies or maybe it's just like making, homemade granola bars with Ella. And that's what we do for the afternoon because that's one of her favorite things to do with me. And that's priceless.
That's awesome because, one of the things that I always saw, like I have a friend, he's a senior vice president of sales for Canada and the East Coast of the United States. And I follow him on Facebook, talk to him once in a while. He's always doing stuff. And I'm like, you know what? There's a guy who's got a very, very, not demanding job, responsible job, but he knows how to delegate so he can still have a life, you know? And here I am, I'm like thinking to myself, hey, I got a business too, but how come he seems to be doing more than me and he has a bigger position? But it's the delegating of responsibility. So that's really awesome.
Sometimes you have to do it before you're making the money that you think you need to make to do it, because that's the only way you're going to free up that time.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost as much as you think. And so the advice that I always have for people that want to dip their toe in that water, start with one simple project. So for me, I already had a housekeeper. It was going from a housekeeper once a month to once a week. And I said, I'm going to give it 4 weeks. And so if it doesn't work out, this isn't permanent. I didn't tell her I was hiring her permanently. I said, I'm hiring you for 4 weeks. I need you to come and do this.
So get a taste of it. Once you get a taste of it, you're going to love it.
And decide if it's the right person, too.
Yeah. All right. So, Sarah, first of all, thank you for being on the show. You're always a great guest. I'll have you on again.
Thank you.
Have you on again before your dad. But we won't tell him that.
Friendly competition.
And if you want to reach you, sarah@tugender.com.
7 words to score the appointment every time.
7 words, yes.
Out.
7 words to score the appointment every time. Put our name and our email, and you'll send that to us. Yeah. All right, Sarah. Well, again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
It's always great to have you on. I want to thank you for watching the Matt Ligor Show. We will be back again very soon. Don't forget, anybody who wants to be my sidekick, send in your, what do they call that tape? Send in your reel. All right. Thanks for watching the Matt Ligor Show.